Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Shelby on Safari. My name is Shelby. I'm a wild animal biologist, but also a Pokemon trainer. And I love looking at animals and pop culture to see just how similar these worlds often are, from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Pokemon, of course. I enjoy diving in. And guys, it is going to be an exciting weekend and it is Eevee Community Day, or should I say weekend at that? My goodness me, we have been spoiled these past few weeks with Pokemon Go, and in today's video slash live stream, whichever way you're watching, which by the way, in case you are joining me live, let me know in the comments and in the live chat as I knock my table over. And then if you're watching on the replay, also let me know in the comments like my friend Jody did earlier. It was really nice to see you guys catching up on these lives with me. In today's live, we are going to go through three things. We are going to go over what you need to know for Pokemon Community Day starring Eevee, the evolution Pokemon. Then we'll be going a little bit deeper into what exactly is Eevee, including some trivia that blew my brain today. I was like, what? And I had to look on my phone to make sure it was legit. It's a la the Magikarp escapade from earlier this year, which, by the way, guys, if you haven't caught up on all the Pokemon videos, I'll pop the link to those in the description down below. So after this, you can check out the rest of my animal comparisons. But then, last but not least, I'm going to introduce you to eight foxes. It's going to be a whirlwind tour of foxes, guys, because well, we're going over some incredible foxes that are like real life Eevees. It's gonna be great. So hope you guys are ready to buckle in and join me for the next few minutes or so, because it is gonna be fantastic. And I see the little chat in my corner of my peripheral vision going off. Oh, hello everybody. Oh my goodness. Oh no! Oh, the phone has died. Oh, the duck has headphones. Oh, yes, guys, my friend Dom, you may recognize him from a few different live streams. Dom's popped in here a bit, but I am so excited because Dom's app that he's been working on, Berta, is live. Well, for beta testers, which I'm one of, and it's been fantastic. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen a few little snippets of me being super excited about seeing birds. Like today, a red kite literally was above me in my garden, and it was fantastic being able to share that finding and sighting on Berta. And watch this space, guys, because over the next few weeks, I imagine you'll be getting a lot more bird stuff. And yeah, if you're interested on being a beta tester, let me know in the comments and message me on Instagram. Anyways, shameless plug over, even though Tom didn't ask for it. You got it anyways, buddy. Oh, good to see everybody. Kathy is here. Oh, goodness. Mother of bunnies. Hello. Oh, my goodness. So exciting to see so many friends. So let's dive right in because we got a lot to cover. Like I mentioned, I'm introducing to you 8 foxes, which are going to be fantastic because some of them I even got to learn of when I was doing the research for them. It was fantastic. So Eevee Community Day, top tips and kind of what you need to know. Community Day is not really a community day. Actually, let's pull up some pictures because pictures make the world better. So actually, yeah, before I forget, here's where you can find me. Yep, y'all know that. Y'all follow anyways. Let us now go into, if I can actually, there we go. I have my computer monitor set up on this side, my right side, because it used to be on my left, but then my computer still thinks it's to my left, so I have to like go the opposite way, if that makes sense. It's fantastic. Oh, I haven't done a live in such a long time because I was in Wales, guys. It was fantastic. I keep saying fantastic. I feel like the 10th Doctor tonight. But yeah, that's spoilers for this Friday's video. You're all going to be able to join me on my adventure in Wales. I didn't do much filming, I'll be honest, because most of the time I was in the water or eating Joe's ice cream. Not a sponsor of Shelby on Safari, but happily I will accept the sponsorship should they wish. Alrighty, friends. So Eevee Community Day is this weekend. There's a lot to take in here. I'm going to try to be a little bit efficient because it's not the meat of Shelby on Safari, if you will. But the key dates to keep in mind are this Friday, August 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to Monday, August 16th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The reason why this kind of chunk 4-day weekend, if you will, is quite important because it's the time frame for getting your eeveelution. I say eeveelution instead of Eevee evolution because it's much more fun. Again, another shameless plug. One of my very early videos on Pokemon animal comparisons was on eeveelutions in real life, but I'll put that in the link below. I take a different turn. I focus on an animal that's not quite quadruped. It is a bird, actually. Dom, you might find it fascinating. A little particular finch, one might say. Anyways, this 4-day weekend's important because that's when you have the time to evolve your Eevees into whatever eeveelution you want, but they'll get a special move. Eevees that are either caught or hatched during this time will know Last Resort, which can be quite important, I guess. I don't know. I don't really battle with an Eevee. I prefer to evolve them, but that's a topic for another time, I guess. Now, my top tip for one of my top tips actually is walk with an Eevee early on from Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, wherever in the world that is for you, the equivalent. I'm not sure. I know it's later in the day here in the UK, but as soon as that Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time hits, buddy up with an Eevee because you'll only need 7 buddy hearts to evolve it into a Sylveon. Now, for those of you that have been playing a while, you know when Sylveon was first released and up until now, it's taken 70 hearts to evolve that bad boy. So it does take a while. So 7 hearts, that's a lot easier done. And of course, you can get hearts by, boosting with a puffin or walking with them, doing the little tap and swirl as if you're petting them kind of thing and taking a picture. So it's quite easy to get those 7 hearts in a manageable amount of time. However, because, you probably are going to want a shiny Sylveon, which I do. I don't actually have another spare shiny Eevee to evolve into a Sylveon. So I'm hoping to get my shiny early on. So then that way I can evolve it using this trick during that 4-day window span. Now, oh, hello, Tiff. Oh my gosh, sorry, friends. I didn't notice you all here. Hello, G. And yes, Tiff is here too. My goodness. Tiff and her fairies. I was so excited, Tiffany, on your Instagram. Guys, in case you don't know, Tiff, a girl in our passport, she's in Greece at the moment, and she loves fairies, and I love the ocean. And so what's on the ocean? Fairies. So I get my ocean, love via Tiff's Instagram page. But if you're interested in Greece, like I know my friend Alice is interested in a beautiful place called Santorini, definitely check out A Girl in Her Passport. Yes, you like the Eevee. Oh, I'm glad you like Eevee. Eevee's quite cute, I find. And I've realized we've been on the same slide. See, that's the issue with trying to multitask and myself. I'm not terribly good at it sometimes. So yeah, speaking of shinies, there we go. There's little spoilers for some of the shinies of the eeveelutions you can find. So of course, that's the big draw of community days, guys, is getting shiny Eevees. And like I said, this is kind of more of a weekend thing. As far as Eevee spawns go, it's going to be on Saturday and Sunday. Woo! And it's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. local time on both Saturday and Sunday. So plenty of opportunities if you're working to, get some shiny Eevees if you need them, to that way get the whole collection, which is quite the sight to see, that is for sure. Per usual with community days, we have the $1 or equivalent in your currency special research. As I've mentioned before, the Epic Jody has always mentioned using Google Play rewards to use that to then buy like some of the Quest, Go to Fest tickets, things like that. So then that way you're not really spending real world money, which is a super awesome tip. So thanks so much again, Jody, for sharing that with us. Also snapshots, take a snapshot to get a special Eevee. Well, not necessarily special, but it's another opportunity to possibly get a shiny, more spawns, blah, blah, blah. Another top tip of mine, which I'm really excited when they do this for community days, is a fourth hatch egg distance. Egg. My friend Alice teases me because of how I say egg. I don't think I say egg weird. Egg. I feel like I'm almost being like my friend Ken, who's Canadian. Although I don't think Ken says that. Maybe Tiffany, Grace, does Ken say a lot? I don't think he does. No, for the purpose of this argument. Anyway, so eggs. Because of the fourth hatch egg distance, one thing that has happened with Pokemon Go is because there's so much going on, sometimes you forget of all the different medals that you can get. And there's one medal in particular that I've been working really hard on getting, and I don't want you to forget, in case you're a completer person like I am, is the trade distance medal. So luckily, I've made a few friends across the world where I can send them gifts here in the UK, but then they send me gifts from, say, Australia, or my favorite ones are from Hawaii. I have a few friends in Taiwan, and so they send me gifts from far away, and then I make sure I have space in my egg pocket, if you will, to have that egg possibly received as a gift. And then I'll put on the incubator during events like this. So it's a 4th hatch egg distance. And so, yeah, be mindful. Start it at 11 a.m. your time locally on Saturday. And then you can get through hatching those Pokemon quicker. And then when you have a buddy, send it over to them. So then that way you get like quite a couple thousand kilometers if you can time it just right. So that's one of my little recommendations for you guys. I know I'm certainly doing it because I'm quite close with the medal. I'm not terribly close, but I'm quite close, quite close. Yes. Oh my goodness. Spoilers, Katie. Spoilers. Katie's mentioning a Welsh Wooloo. Guys, I don't know if you've seen, but one of my favorite Pokemon, in fact, the Pokemon that convinced my husband to buy me Pokemon Shield and a Switch in its entirety, is Wooloo. I'm kind of passionate about Wooloo. And Wooloo's coming to Pokemon Go. That's going to be a whole other topic, and I think we're going to get even more distracted than I am now because I'm so excited. They're just so cute. Anyways, where were we? Oh, yes. Yeah, last bits for Community Day. Incense, 3 hours. Lure modules, 3 hours. Glaceon and Leafeon are important to that. Or is it lure modules for 2 hours? Anyways, get your special lure modules, place them out there, help other trainers evolve their Pokemon, because again, that's another one. Actually, it's not evolving a Pokemon, but it's catching Pokemon using a lure module. Forget what I'm saying. They're happening. It's important. Use them up, but more importantly, don't forget 4th hatch egg distance. I just wanted a chance to say egg again. Alrighty, friends. So we are now on to part 2. We've barely made it through part 1. Jiminy Crickets, I got so distracted. It's been so fun doing a live again because I get to laugh at you guys in the comments. You guys always make me laugh. There is going to be a quick quiz question coming up here in just a second. But it's now time to focus on part 2 of tonight's live stream, in which we are going to highlight the evolution Pokemon, Eevee. So this fine, adorable friend, in fact, let's make the picture bigger because y'all know what my face looks like. Let's look at Eevee. So it's known as the evolution Pokemon. Alice says she likes the Eevee. Yes, Eevee is quite adorable. In fact, with some of the recent games, Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, some of the newer games on the Switch, Eevee's been quite up there with Pikachu, hasn't it? It's in a lot of the promotional stuff. It's currently, one of the main Pokemon in the anime. It's out there a lot, and for good reason, because it's quite cool, because it can evolve into so many different ways, but it's quite cute on its own. So I thought it'd be interesting, because y'all know how I like some of the gender ratios, because some of them are like blow my mind with like the starter Pokemon. Let me see if y'all still with me. What about Eevee's gender ratio? What do you guys think Eevee's gender ratio is? So the proportion, the chances of if you in the wild, which is also quite rare to see an Eevee in the wild, might I add, according to the Pokedexes. If you were to come across one in the wild, or maybe hatch one from an egg, would it be a 50-50? Would you get a male, female? Who knows? Half and half. Ooh, half and half. That's one of my favorite, was one of my favorite things to put in coffee. Half cream, half milk. Now I don't really have half and half because they don't have half and half here in the UK. Again, another topic for another time. Now I'm more hardcore and drink either milk or cream with my coffee. Let me know in the comments what you prefer with your coffee. But more importantly, let me know what letter you think symbolizes Eevee's gender ratio. So B, 87.5% male, very specific, or 12.5% female, or C, the flop side of that, 12.5% male, or 87, and I keep saying or, and 87.5 female. So what do you guys think? I mean, Eevee the evolutions, some of them look quite feminine. Some of them do look a little bit more masculine, but Eevee itself now, what do you think? Does that play a role into it, or do you think it's half and half? Don't you want some coffee in that drink? I really do, but it's just water, I'm afraid. If I had coffee this late, I might stay up, but I should have made a decaf one because even the taste is quite nice. I got Starbucks decaf coffee beans actually downstairs, which are good. And I got some Welsh coffee beans as well to try. Well, not made in Wales, but assembled in Wales, which, again, spoilers for Friday. All right, so we've had some interesting comments. All right, Katie thinks B, 87.5% male, 12.5% female. Interesting. Dom's come in with a vote for C. Interesting, nobody said half and half. But actually, well guessed, you two, well guessed. But Katie did win. It is 87.5% are male and 12.5% are female. Interesting. I don't know why it's interesting. I just found it interesting and thought it'd be fun to have a little quiz. Anywho, isn't Eevee adorable? I think Eevee's adorable. All right, friends. Now here's a spot the difference for you. So I mentioned the Magikarp moment. So earlier this year, my buddy Choppa and I did a video collaboration in which he made, for Pokemon's 25th anniversary, a most magnificent Magikarp cake. I highly encourage you, if there's one thing you do after watching this live stream, is go check out his video just to see how impressive this cake was. While researching to film my version of, or my segment of the video of Magikarp, I realized that Magikarp are actually sexually dimorphic, which is essentially a fancy way of saying differences, physical differences, physical traits that are different between males and females. So in birds, my buddy Dom will, know a lot of birds are quite sexually dimorphic, with males tending to be more colorful, brighter, cooler feathers to woo and impress the ladies, whereas the ladies sometimes are a bit more muted in coloration and not really as frilly and frivolous, if you will, or featherous, if you will. That was a terrible pun. Now, Eevee apparently is also sexually dimorphic, which didn't actually happen before Pokemon Sword and Shield, the latest games on the Switch. Main kind of gameplay games. Obviously, Pokemon Snap came out as well on the Switch. But anyways, before Pokemon Sword and Shield, there was no way to tell the difference really between a male or a female Eevee. Now, there is. And even in Pokemon Go, there is. So here on the screen are two of my Eevees that when I found this out, I had to check and I took a screenshot. So the update is now, females, which is the one, let me see if you're looking at the screen on your right, the one with the party hat, that's a female Eevee. She has a little heart shape, upside down heart shape at the tip of her tail, whereas the male on the left-hand side without the party hat doesn't. So yeah, look at the differences between the tips of the tail. Apparently now that's what they are. And it started with Let's Go Eevee, I believe, with the partner Pokemon that you got. It had like purple eyes, and if it was a female, it did have this heart-shaped pattern. And so from now on, apparently, this is the way to tell the difference. So yeah, who knew? Survival-orientated or sensible for ladybirds. Yes, Dom. That's much more diplomatic. Well played, sir. Well played. So Eevee can even Gigantamax. So we know Eevee, being the evolution Pokemon, it can evolve into many different types, which we'll go through some of possible real-life equivalent of in just a moment. But one last thing about Eevee, because I find this frankly terrifying, but adorable beyond all reason. In Pokemon Sword and Shield, Eevee can Gigantamax, and it's the only Pokemon known that is known to be able to use G-Max Cuddle, the move. So Alice, when you do play Pokemon Sword, you're going to come across this Gigantamax, which is exactly what it sounds like. The Pokemon gets bigger. As you can see, there's like people in the background of this picture because you're in a stadium, because it takes place in Galar, which is loosely based here on the UK. And so they love their football. And so that's where kind of battles take place. And so, yeah, a gigantic Eevee, so much cuddles. Oh, yes. Congrats to Kath for getting the question right. Well done, Kath. Yeah, for getting that, because it is a bit trippy sometimes guessing the sexual ratio of that. I just find that fascinating how they come up with some of these numbers. You're like, what? Just a little details like that make it entertaining. Especially like if you want to have like a Sylveon, be a girl Eevee, you have to hatch a lot of eggs, I guess, to get that 12.5% hatch being a female. Anyway, speaking of evolution and Eevees, here we can see cute little Eevee deciding, do I go for the Leaf Stone? Do I go for the Yellowstone, the Thunderstone to become a Jolteon? There are many different forms of eeveelutions. There are actually 8 currently, which, by the way, I'd be curious to hear from you guys if there's an evolution of a type of Eevee that you'd be keen to see, because there's a few that we don't have, like a dragon type Eevee. I think that one would be quite cool. I was hoping they'd do one in Galar, but they didn't. Just because of the links to kind of the UK and dragons and, dragons in Wales. Will I find a dragon in Wales? I don't know. Who knows? You'll have to tune out on Friday. Anyways, I hope for a dragon type Eevee, but I didn't get it. Yeah, I like the party hat too, Alice. That was quite fun. I think that was for one of the Pokemon Go anniversaries. I've had that one for quite a while. So there's 8 different foxes that I'm going to introduce you to for today's Eevee video, real life Eevee. We're going to start off with this gorgeous friend. So it is going to be a bit of a whirlwind, but that's because there's 8 foxes that I need to introduce you to, because they're just really amazing animals, in my humble opinion. So if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe. I'm always bad at promoting myself, I should say. Yeah, be sure to join the safari. Yeah, click subscribe. Oh, actually, speaking of the safari, before we talk about the real life eeveelutions, look at this. Look at this fine sticker, friends. Actually, I'm surprised he hasn't interrupted yet. These stickers are Maui approved. Maui has approved this message. He kissed the sticker when he first saw it, which I was quite chuffed with. But yes, as you can see, he has little green eyes because he has green eyes, and it says Safari Squad. So if you want to get your own sticker, or I think there's reusable water bottles, tote bags, whatever the case may be, or just get a cute little Maui, be sure to check the link in the description down below to get your Maui merchandise. And if there's an item that you don't see for sale on there, I have the opportunity, should there be enough demand, let me know if you want a t-shirt or whatever, if there's some crazy cool thing, or a Emma Bridgewater Maui Safari Squad mug, let me know and I'll try to arrange, see what I can do. So this, friends, is the Darwin's Fox, the first fox that we are going to look at, and that I think is like a real life Pokemon. So this one reminds me a lot of Leafeon. Obviously, this picture helps because it's surrounded by green. But the Darwin's Fox is actually considered endangered by the IUCN Red List for various reasons, mostly looking at their population numbers and the size of their habitat. Speaking of habitat, they are endemic to Chile. Now, when I say endemic, I like to throw around quite a few words here, but endemic is an important one because it means they're only found in that particular place. So my favorite example of the use of the word endemic are lemurs are endemic to the island of Madagascar, because that's where they're found in the wild in that particular area. So often when we use the word endemic, it often is, showcasing how special and how unique these animals are. And you're going to see with some of the foxes that you're going to learn about tonight with me that a lot of them actually are quite specialized. But then there's also some that are quite spread out. So it's cool to see some of the different dynamics within the amazing world of foxes. Now, the thing that really resonated with me about Darwin's foxes were that they're associated with forest and they have quite large home ranges. And I'd like to think kind of Leafeon would have the same, quite big home range because, like to go out on journeys, because they have quite a beautiful ability, to soak up the sun and really harness the power of sunlight, like plants, photosynthesis. Anyways, so their home ranges are anywhere between 103 and 488 hectares for a little fox. And I cannot imagine, just how incredible it would be to see one of these beauties in the wild. So that is quickly an introduction to the Darwin's fox. Now, I encourage you, if there's any fox you want to learn more about later, I'll pop the links to some of my favorite resources in the description down below after this. But now it's time to move on to the chillier side of thing, no pun intended, seeing as the Darwin's fox is found in Chile. But yes, the Tibetan fox. Now, I know what you're thinking. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's the Arctic fox, Shelby. But as you may kindly remember, I previously compared the best Pokemon from the Alola region, the Alolan Vulpes, to an Arctic fox, which again you'll find in the Pokemon playlist down below. So I wanted to mix things up a bit and introduce you to the Tibetan fox. They are actually classified as the least concerned, which is amazing that I get to say that, because yeah, that means there's no really cause for concern for, well, obviously they still need to be protected, but their population numbers aren't, say near threatened or endangered. So this is really exciting because you can imagine fox pelts are quite, especially ones where they live in harsh environments, can often be sought after, which actually I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, so these foxes are, surprise, found in Tibet, but also Nepal, parts of China, and India. Now, they are particularly adept at hunting pikas, however you want to pronounce it. I wanted to say Pika, because Pikachu, and often sometimes people think Pikachu is after a Pika animal. Now, this study just fascinated me. So one study found that these Tibetan foxes would trail brown bears and follow them to where they would go hunting in like the Pika's burrows. So the brown bear would be like digging around, being like, hey, Pikas, come out, I want to eat you for dinner. And then the Pikas would actually be able to run away and escape, if they could escape, into the wide open arms of the Tibetan fox. So these foxes are super clever. And of course, they're able to endure kind of the snowy time periods, which remind me of Glaceon. But I'd like to Glaceon is a bit clever like that, be able to use a little bait and switch. Hello? I spoke too soon. Please hold. Come on then. Come on. Oh, you're going to run away? He's so cheeky. Literally, he was pawing at the door, and then I opened it, and he stood there, and then he ran away. I gave you your chance, mate. It was Maui, by the way, in case you were wondering. Where were we? Yes, the Tibetan fox. Quite an interesting fox, if I do say so myself, just because they're so, I don't know, I just love how clever they are. Yes, and Dom's noticed just their incredible facial features as well, just how striking their faces are, quite different from some of the foxes, like say the red fox that we're quite accustomed to here in the UK. Very unique facial features. Apparently a better beard than Dom. Oh, man. All right, friends, I'm going to be a bit biased with this one. Vaporeon is one of my favorite eeveelutions, and so I decided to go with the island fox. Now, the island fox is near threatened. Now, also with this in mind, they're found in a very limited range. So again, they are endemic to 6 of the Channel Islands in my old neck of the woods, Southern California. So the Channel Islands are just off the coast. I think there's 8 Channel Islands in total, but the island fox is found only on 6 of them. And within each of these island populations, the foxes on each 6 individual islands are recognized as their own subspecies, because some of them have evolved to have either longer tails or different kind of features. And so it's really unique to be able to see, the different kind of subspecies. But we'll focus on the island fox as a whole, just because it's, I don't know, they don't really have anything to do with water, other than I was super excited to share with you about them because they're quite unique. Obviously, I associate Southern California with the ocean, and so hence Vaporeon. They're not like super specialized swimmers or anything. However, they are known, as a lot of fox species are, to be quite opportunistic and not terribly picky when it comes to food. And so I believe there are, evidence of them, scrounging around the shoreline looking for crabs, also, eating other insects, other plants, things like that. So they are quite the opportunistic omnivores, these guys are. They also are the descendants of the mainland gray fox. And interestingly enough, while the island fox happens to be one of the largest native mammals on the Channel Islands, with the bigger picture of a global perspective, they're actually one of the smallest canid species in the world, and the only unique carnivore to California in existence. And so, yeah, that is the island fox. Rather adorable little friend. I mean, all of these guys are adorable, let's be real. But a very unique and cool fox species. It would be amazing to be able to head back to California and see these guys in the wild. Whichever of the 6 islands I might make my way to, but quite impressive, quite impressive. So we are moving around the world. I thought I'd showcase just how foxes are not just here in the UK or in the States, but they are all over. So we've been to Chile to see the Darwin's fox, to my neck of the woods, California, with the island fox, Tibetan fox. Now we are going down to Africa to meet the bat-eared fox, which I think is quite similar to Flareon. I mean, obviously the ears are quite similar to the fennec fox, which again is another animal that I looked at as a real life Pokemon, because they are quite similar to Fennekin. That was actually, I think, one of my first live streams, or my second live stream. Yeah, my first one was Froakie. So apologies if it's really awkward. But yeah, that's in the playlist down below as well. So luckily, the bat-eared fox is another fox that is classified as the least concern. These guys are found in both southern and eastern Africa, so they have quite a nice range. And yeah, their ears totally stand out. They are about 5 inches tall. Now, of course, these large ears kind of act as radar dishes to help them hear and have excellent hearing, but also, similarly enough with the fennec fox, to be able, to dispel heat, because it can get quite hot, which led me to make the association with Flareon, obviously a fire-type Pokemon, and so being able to handle the heat that these guys have to endure. So these foxes in particular, one thing that is quite curious about them, I mentioned, some of the other foxes eating, crabs and things like that. This guy actually eats insects, with termites making up, where's my mouse? I was going to change the picture. With these guys eating up to 70% of their diet being made up of termites, which is like crazy. And as you would imagine, the ears, obviously a fancy adaptation, but if their diet is mostly kind of termites, they are going to have some other adaptations to help them with that lifestyle. So they actually have more teeth than most mammals. They have about 46 to 50 teeth, which I found most peculiar. Although that would be rather tricky going to the dentist if you had like even more teeth and like flossing in between. Not that the bat-eared fox flosses. Ooh, that's a little tongue twister there for you guys. But yeah, I don't know. It's just fascinating to think if you were a dentist having to clean the the teeth of the fox. So we also have, I genuinely can't find my mouse to move the picture. This is the fun with, there it is, with having multiple computer screens, lights on either side, a cat clawing at the door. What's next? What's next? What's next is a sip of water. That's what's next, my friends. Oh, Alice, which one did you say was a cute fox? I'm sorry. I skipped past that. Hopefully it was one of these. But also, might be this one, the Corsac Fox. I love this one. I'm a bit, I don't know, Sylveon, I really kind of dig Sylveon. I don't know if it's because of the friendliness attribute where, you had to be quite, like trainer and Pokemon had to be quite in sync, and the friendliness aspect of it. And also like the ribbons of Sylveon, being able to have that kind of connection with the trainer, which we kind of as and I talk a little bit about as well eeveelution video that I did earlier on as well. But I just love the look of the Corsac Fox. I don't know about you guys, but it too just is so cool looking. Like, look at that face. I probably picked an interesting picture to highlight. And of course, the cute little kits, the puppy younger foxes were adorable as well of this fox. But it's just stunning. Very much like Sylveon, where it's quite striking. These guys are found across Central Asia, and they tend to be quite nomadic, which made me, again, like their striking appearance, made me think of Sylveon, because being a nomad, the distance that you are with the trainer, like as a Pokemon, sometimes to build up that foundation with your Eevee to evolve it into a Sylveon, you need to be walking with it for a while. So I made that connection of them being nomadic, connecting that to Sylveon. I know it's a loose thread. It's just because they're pretty. But however, speaking of their beautifulness, I have to throw in some of the history with regards to the Corsac Fox, because sadly in the late 19th century, they were trapped for their fur. And as if that wasn't tricky enough, a couple centuries before that, in the 17th century, they also happened to be popular pets, which I'm not sure if that still holds true today. That would be interesting to look into. But one of the things that may have led to them being popular as pets and such was the fact that they lack the odor that is common to other foxes, like the red fox, because they can be quite stinky, but these guys apparently don't. And so that would make them probably a bit more of a desirable pet than, say, a red fox. But yes, this is the Corsac Fox, Vulpes corsac. Gotta love a good scientific name, which, by the way, as you'll see with each of these, I put just after. And you may have noticed Vulpes. That is kind of the genus of some of the true foxes. And yeah, very similar to Vulpes. Surprise. So we are moving now on to another animal that sadly is classified as near threatened. This is the Sechuran Fox. These guys are near threatened, like I said, and again, part of the range plays into that, where the Corsac Fox had quite a broad range across Central Asia. These guys have a very limited range in the coastal regions of Peru and Ecuador. And I should have put up actually a picture of the range map, because it's quite tiny. It's a little sliver. And of course, that doesn't bode well, for them being limited to quite a restrictive area, because if anything should happen to it, smaller area for them to live and thrive and hunt even, it gets tricky, that is for sure. But these guys seem to do quite well in the sense that they, again, are opportunistic omnivores. And so that means kind of they'll make the most of whatever situation they're in, which does kind of remind me of Jolteon in a way, because these guys can also survive with limited water. They can live in arid environments, because they were first actually discovered in the Sechuran desert. And so, I don't know why I think of hot desert arid areas with electric type Pokemon, but I do. But also, their fur, how they're a much lighter colored fox, more yellow in color, maybe, perhaps. But one thing that I found particularly curious about these guys, so I've thrown, opportunistic omnivore out there a lot, is the fact that they can actually be vegetarian if needed. They can be strictly vegetarian if necessary. So say in their limited range, they couldn't really find anything. They have been known to survive strictly on a vegetarian diet, which is quite interesting. Goes to show, good old foxes making the most of the situation that they're in, whether it becomes food-wise or where they live. A lot of some of these species actually are quite amazing in the different habitats that they can handle. In fact, the next one is probably one of the greatest masters of that. That is the gray fox. These guys are classified as least concern. And that's because one of the main factors is because of their massive home. Now, I'm not going to sing Home on the Range, one of American songs, although it is quite snazzy tune. If you don't know it, look it up. Al, if you're lucky, maybe I'll sing it for you at your wedding. But it is a huge range across the United States, down through Mexico and into, and actually, I believe, all the way through Central America to the very top of South America. So quite an impressive home range. And if you are slightly familiar with the US of A, you know that the East Coast and the West Coast are very different, even from the Midwest and the central part of the US. It's very different habitats, and these guys can survive and thrive in them. Now, one incredible aspect of the gray fox is their claws. They can climb trees. I know it seems crazy, but a lot of other species of fox can't actually climb trees, but these guys do, and it's the hooked claws that help them climb these trees. Now, the reason why I looked at Espeon for them is because, as some of you know, with Espeon and Umbreon, it came down to obviously being a buddy, especially in Pokemon Go, literally having, being a buddy with your Pokemon and then evolving it at the right time. Umbreon at nighttime, Espeon during the daytime. The gray fox is crepuscular, which means that it is active at dawn and dusk. So that made me think of Umbreon and Espeon, really. And one of the strangest things about these guys, and it actually holds true for quite a lot of other animals, and I thought it'd be interesting food for thought, if you will, is that even though the gray fox has a rather high abundance across the US, down in Mexico and Central America and all of that jazz, even though there are a lot of them, surprisingly, very little research proportionally has been done on them. Now, that makes me think we should get our act together, really, with things like that. And I know there's a lot of amazing animal species out there, and some of which probably have no research on them done whatsoever. However, these guys play a very important, vital role in the ecosystems. And so being able to identify their role, can help with their conservation projects and conservation projects of others. And it's just surprising, even though so much research, luckily, is being done on animals, that these guys, even though they're quite common, they seem to often get overlooked. Also, like invertebrates, like our sun beetles, for example. A lot of times, lifespans, I know you guys probably laugh at me when I bring up lifespans into it, but the data that was out there wasn't really quite solid research, but data suggested, some beetles, only live for a couple of weeks, but then we found, or a couple months. And then my husband and I, we, studied some beetles, and we found actually that a lot of them lived for well over 6 months. We had one cat, because we had 3 letters symbolize their name. So we had Thor, of course, it was THR, but cat was one. Cat lived well over for a year. And if we don't even know how long, these animals live for, what else don't we know about them? And so, yeah, it's just an interesting correlation, and how more studies need to be done, especially on cool animals like the gray fox and some beetles. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox and move to the last animal for tonight's real life Pokemon. This is the short-eared dog. Now, I know you guys are probably like, that's a dog, but it's not a fox. But actually, classification-wise, yes, they are grouped into the fox category, if you will. These guys are near threatened as well. However, with the information I'm about to tell you, I fear that this could quickly escalate and might be revised in the future into more endangered territory. So the short-eared dog are notoriously rare to see, and sightings are super uncommon. In fact, from 1970 until 1987, the species went practically unrecorded. There were very few accounts of people coming across this species, let alone being able to study it. These guys, part of the reason why they're probably quite rare is that they favor the undisturbed rainforest parts of the Amazon lowlands. So again, not a place many people walk through on a daily basis. So that could not many of them are recorded. But with that, I know this has nothing to do with Umbreon, but I thought I'd throw in that they're quite capable swimmers because I find that absolutely fascinating. But the Umbreon bit was thrown in because of that elusive nature and the rare kind of sightings. I know Gary in the anime has an Umbreon. Was it Gary? I think it is Gary. And what's his face? Lily's brother in Alola. I think he had one as well. Anyways, the short-eared dog, I think just because the elusiveness of it, and sometimes some of the sightings have actually been done on camera traps, which happened at night, getting nighttime footage of these guys. So maybe that's why I associated with Umbreon. But yeah, I just thought they were a fascinating animal, and I genuinely hadn't heard of them before I was researching this. So that's one of the reasons why I love doing these videos on Shelby on safaris, because I do get to learn. One last little thing about this friend before we wrap up for the evening is a study looked at a semi-domesticated, I guess, if you will, short-eared dog. Logger actually found a puppy, a short-eared dog puppy, I guess, if you will. And then he brought it into market and sold it. And this guy kind of raised it with his dogs, alongside his dogs. And a scientist, actually a veterinarian, kind of heard of it. And she asked if she could kind of study it because they are so rare. And yeah, luckily the owner was quite accepting of this. And she found a couple interesting things, one of which is that the short-eared dog doesn't actually hit sexual maturity until about 3 years of age, which might not seem interesting to begin with, but if there are, possible a need for, having a captive population in the future, or with some that are already in captivity, knowing what age they hit sexual maturity is quite important, for breeding purposes. But then she also looked at their food preference. So they took the dog Oso, his name was, took him for kind of loosely leaded walks through the forest, and they were able to document kind of what he preferred to eat in terms of food. And it was just rather interesting article. And I'll pop that down in the description down below so you can check it out after this, because I certainly found it bizarre, but also amazing to be able to see that. And, often sometimes, like with captive animals, it is important to be able to use them to, to study them, to see what they do, to better make decisions, maybe, for their wild counterparts as well. And so being able to have that opportunity would have been incredible. I'm quite jealous that she got to come across these, because yeah, they are quite crazy looking animals. And that was the short-eared dog. So friends, yes, yeah, Al, you're quite right. He does look like a little weasel. He certainly doesn't look more of the fox type. And I guess, yeah, there's true foxes and there's, the lesser foxes, if you will. I really wouldn't call them lesser foxes. But yeah, good old scientific debate as to the classifications and things like that. So yeah, you can definitely see the evolutionary tree of life kind of going in a different direction with this guy with his face. And hopefully over the past 30 minutes or so, what we've been going through the whirlwind tour of some foxes, there are a few other fox species as well, of course, that I didn't mention. But yeah, well worth looking into if you're keen on kind of canids. There's quite a few amazing animals out there. I mean, the Tibetan fox for sure stood out to me. Yeah, Sechuran Fox. Oh, there are just so many. And of course, the Arctic fox, one of my favorites. I actually got to work with the Arctic fox back in the day. They were quite, quite interesting, the brother duo that I got to work with. And Fennec foxes as well. They're quite cute. Flynn and Finn, they were my favorites, little Fennekin foxes. And I say Fennekin because they are totally based off Fennekin, the Pokemon. Anyways, woo! That was quite the whirlwind. I hope you guys aren't too overwhelmed with the amazing world of foxes that we covered. And hopefully you're more excited than anything to get out there this weekend for Pokemon Go's Eevee Community weekend, if you will, and get some shiny Eevees and evolve them into some of the incredible evolutions that we got to see. Umbreon, Espeon, Sylveon. There's so many different ones out there, 8 in total. And hence why we looked at 8 incredible Let me know in comments down below which Fox was your favorite, or maybe which evolution you're most looking forward to, because yeah, there's a lot to choose from. That is for sure. And I think, you know, if there's one that I'm going to be working towards, I'd really like to get a shiny Eevee and evolve it into a shiny Sylveon. That was the fairy type Pokemon, where it has all the ribbons and stuff. It was first introduced to us back in, what's the region called? Kalos. There it is, the one that's based off of Paris. And yeah, based off of Paris, France. That was a fun game. Pokemon X and Y, that was really exciting. And yeah, I like it because it's blue in color, and it's just quite eye-catching. Of course, you can't go wrong with a purple Vaporeon. I had one called Grape Soda. Yeah, I got it in a trade, and yeah, it had already had its pre-named Grape Soda because it's bright purple. Anyways, that was fun. Well, friends, thank you so much for joining me on this fine evening for yet another interesting Shelby on Safari Live. As Katie earlier mentioned about a Welsh Wooloo, few things are upcoming. This Friday, I'll be bringing you along with me on my Welsh adventure, where I explore a beautiful part of the world, and who knows, we may even see a Welsh Wooloo. But then spoilers for next Tuesday's live stream. I know I'm doing 2 in a row, but I feel bad because I missed out quite a few weeks. We are going to be looking into what is going on in Pokemon Go's Ultra Unlock, the 3rd part. Because, friends, that's when we're finally getting some more Galarian Pokemon. I know, we can already get Galarian Farfetch'd and Meowth and all of that, kind of the more regional forms. But we're finally getting our proper Galarian Pokemon, friends, and we're going to be discussing Wooloo, because why not? Because they're just so cute. I'm going to try not to fangirl too much during that. Speaking of fangirling, if Oshawott Community Day is a go-ahead, I warn you now, Oshawott is one of my top favorite Pokemon of all time. So yeah, be prepared. And yeah, it's going to be a fabulous, exciting week ahead. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe, so then that way you know when everything's going on, including follow me on Instagram, because that's typically where I make the first announcement that I'm going live, because it's always fun to get to hear from you guys in the comments and laugh at some of the funny things you say. You guys always make me laugh. It's so fantastic. So please follow me there as well, so that way you know when to join. As always, if you're watching the replay, let me know down in the comments too, because it's always nice to hear from you guys, whichever way and whenever way possible. But with that, I'm going to go feed Maui, because I can still hear him at the door scratching, and he's demanding his food because it's almost 9 o'clock, which is his food time, as he kindly likes to remind me. But with that, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. Good luck this weekend for Eevee Community Day. And yeah, let me know how you all get up to. Best of luck for all the shinies, and I'll see you in Friday's video. Or if you want more Pokemon content and this video didn't satisfy that enough, be sure to click the playlist down below to head on over, check out that Magikarp video that I mentioned earlier. So you will then learn in that video what exactly makes a Magikarp different between males and females. Because if you notice, I didn't actually tell you during this live stream, because I want you to head on over there and check out Choppa's cake, which looked amazing. Anyways, night-night, guys. Have a good one. Bye. Bye, everybody.